will be waiting for just 2 more minutes so that the students will join. So we have discussed in the previous lecture, lecture 1, about what is improvement and why we should improve. Okay. So if and all you are going to improve your mathematical skill or analytical skill, technical skill, logical skill, then only you are going to get placed in any of the company. Or if you want to do any business also, you need to improve any of these skills. Okay. So improvement is essential. That is what the theme of the discussion yesterday started. So then we have discussed power factor improvement. Why power factor has to be improved? So what are the disadvantages of having low power factor? Okay. So those things and all we discussed in the previous lecture. Cos phi, power factor is represented with cos phi. And cos phi is equal to kilowatt by kVA. So that is the formula we have represented over there. And what is power triangle? So representation of power triangle in terms of impedance and as well as in terms of admittance is also shown to you. Real power, reactive power, and apparent power. Real power or true power is represented with the letter P, whose units are in kilowatts, and apparent power is in kVA, which is represented with letter S, and reactive power is represented with Q, which is kVAR. So these topics we have discussed in the previous class. Okay. So in today's lecture, we will be discussing about importance of the power factor improvement. Then what are the methods to improve the power factor? So this importance of power factor improvement, we have seen what are the drawbacks of low power factor. So based on the drawbacks of low power factor, we are having large kVA losses, and size of the machine is going to be increased. Okay. Then large kVA, large line losses. Okay. So lower efficiency, penalty from the distribution companies to the industry. So all these are the drawbacks of the low power factor. So we have seen them. Now we will be seeing what are the important or the different methods of improvement of the power factor. So one is static capacitor method, other one is synchronous condenser method, and third one is phase advancers method. So these are the three methods to improve the power factor. Okay. Why? Because why power factor has to be improved, we have already seen. Because of the low power factor, because most of the traditional loads that are working are induction motors, fluorescent lamp lightings, or electric arc furnaces, or induction arc furnaces. Then we have seen sodium vapor lamps, mercury vapor lamps. These are the majority of the loads, welding. So these are all lagging loads. So that is because they are all lagging loads. So most of the loads are based on induction and inductive loads. So because always inductor lags, current drawn by inductor is always lagging with the voltage. So that is why these are all lagging loads and the power factor is low. Okay. Presence of transformer, presence of harmonic currents are there. So these are all the major causes for low power factor, which we have seen. Okay. So now our aim is to improve those power factors, even though those loads, you cannot change the loads because those are the loads with which our economy is running. So you cannot change those loads. The only thing you can do is keeping the loads as it is, we will be trying to improve the power factor. So which means we will be trying to make the angle between the current drawn by the load and the voltage as minimum as possible, so that when theta or phi is minimum and cos phi will be maximum. So that is the fundamental theme on which we are going to describe these methods of power factor improvement. Okay. As you know, traditionally, uh, before when supply is given to a industry or to a load, okay, we'll have a basic distribution transformer, and the most commonly used load is going to be our induction motor. Okay. Now we are going to give supply to this induction motor from the transformer. So let R and Y and B. So these are the three-phase supply we are giving R, Y, B. Okay. So we are assuming that we are supplying the induction motor through a distribution transformer. Okay. So when the voltage is supply voltage will be generally maintained constant. So now the current drawn by the induction motor will be always lagging in nature. So since this is induction motor, you cannot have a pure inductive load. Okay, so the equivalent diagram for the physical transformer and the induction motor is going to be represented like this. Okay, so this is the voltage that is given by the transformer, and this is the load of the induction motor. Okay, so induction motor cannot be a pure inductive load. It will be a combination of resistance and inductive load. RL load is present over here. Okay. Now, as you know, the basic how to draw the phasor diagram. So, for drawing the phasor diagram, we have to take voltage as a reference. So, this is the voltage that I am taking the voltage as a reference. And now the current, that is always in case of pure inductive load, the current will be lagging by 90 degrees. Okay, if it is a pure inductive load. But since it is not pure inductive load, instead of this will be lagging at a different value. Somewhere like this. Okay. This is the angle phi. Okay. Now this is lagging angle. So this is the angle lagging angle phi. Now the objective is that to reduce the angle in such a way by placing a capacitor. Suppose now after placing the capacitor, if suppose the angle is reduced to this like this. Okay. Now the new angle is this one. Let this be the new angle. Okay. So we represent this as something phi c. Because of the presence of the capacitor, this angle has come like this. Assume. So if the angle is reduced, which means nothing but the power factor is improved. So now we are going to place a capacitor in such a way that this angle is going to be reduced. When the angle is reduced, automatically cos phi will be improved. Okay, so that is what the theory we have already seen. Okay, right. Now I will show you the diagram. Now a capacitor is placed here. Okay. So when a capacitor is placed here, automatically what is happening now? Initially the current was lagging. This was the initial value of the current. And now after placement of capacitor, because of IC, so IC is a current that will leading the voltage. Okay. So this is going to lead. Okay. Now the current I dash is the phasor sum of IC and I. Okay, so which is represented as phi 2. So now the angle between V and I dash is improved to phi 2. So that means here cos phi is improved, phi 2 is reduced. Okay, so that cos phi the power factor is improved. So this is the basic fundamental how to improve the power factor. Okay, so by connecting a capacitor across the load, since the capacitor is having able to draw the leading current, and which will reduce the or which will neutralize the reactive component of current drawn by the inductive load. So by that way, the power factor is going to be improved. As we know, there are three methods of improving the power factor. One is static capacitor, second one is synchronous condenser, and third one is the phase advancers. So these are the three methods by which we can improve the power factor. Static capacitors. So static capacitor, why we have to go for static capacitors? Okay. So the static capacitors have very small losses and higher efficiency. That is one advantage. So the efficiency of the static capacitor is around 99. Okay, and it's almost no maintenance because there are no running parts in a static capacitors. So maintenance problem will not be there with respect to static capacitor. Then cost is also low. They are easy to carry and easy to install. Okay, so we can use the capacitors in parallel to the load. So here a three-phase load, for a three-phase load we can use either star connection or delta connection. So three capacitors are connected across the load either in Y connection, that is nothing but the star connection or the delta connection. Okay, so now by using this type of connection, we can improve the power factor. So this is a basic diagram. So the current active part of the component is I cos phi, which is the current that is represented by the load. I cos phi is the active component of current, and the lagging component of current is going to be represented by I sin phi 1. Is the lagging component, reactive component. Okay, and finally I sin phi 2 is going to be the current that is after the placement of the capacitor across the load. So initially this is the lagging current. Now this current value is being reduced to this one. Okay, so the earlier diagram which you have seen is representing a this form of diagram is called as impedance diagram. Okay, so this we are showing like this. So this is the latest. Phi 2 is the angle which is reduced, so by which the power factor is going to be reduced, so improved. Then comes the synchronous condenser. So synchronous condenser is nothing but a synchronous motor. So whenever we say synchronous motor, so the input is electrical energy, output is mechanical energy. But here in case of synchronous condenser, we are not going to do any such sort of things. Okay. So here we are not going to connect the shaft of the synchronous motor to anything. Okay, but we are making it to run freely. Okay, so we are not going to connect the synchronous motor. So that means there is no input to the synchronous electrical input or taking mechanical output. So such things are not there. They are just allowed. Synchronous motor is just allowed to like a freewheeling diode. They are just allowed to run freely. Okay, so its purpose is to convert the electric power mechanical power in general, but here we are not going to do that. Okay, it is not the purpose to convert electrical power to mechanical power, but to adjust the conditions. Okay, so based on the conditions it is going to adjust itself. Okay, now synchronous condenser, the phasor diagram of synchronous condenser will be shown like this. So here V is the supply voltage. So this is the supply voltage, V is the supply voltage, and in general IL is the lagging current of the load. Okay, so IL is the lagging current of the load, and IM is the overexcited current of the synchronous motor. So IL always lags V by an angle phi L, and IM leads voltage V by an angle phi M. So the phasor sum of IM and IL will be giving you the current called as I, so whose angle is phi. So phi is always less than phi m. So by which your power factor is improved. Okay. So IL is the lagging current drawn with industrial load. IL lags V by an angle phi L. So V is the supply voltage and Im is the current of power excited synchronous motor. So that is being operated at no load. Im leads V by an angle phi m. So current I is nothing but the phasor sum of Im and IL, and lags voltage B an angle of phi. Phi always less than phi m. So which means that the overall power factor is improved by using over excited synchronous motor. Okay. So this is how by using synchronous condenser we are going to improve the power factor. So we are going to give what are the strengths or what are the benefits of using static capacitor and a synchronous condenser. Okay. So first and foremost benefit of using static capacitor is static capacitor connected in parallel to the devices, so which works with low power factor. And it neutralizes the lagging component of current. Okay. So that is nothing but the inductive current uh, that is drawn by the inductive loads. Okay. Whereas in case of synchronous condenser is a silent pole synchronous machine. Okay. So it is used to stabilize the power system voltage by supplying reactive power. Okay. The life of a static capacitor is around 8 to 10 years, but whereas the synchronous condenser's life is nearly 25 years. Okay. So losses are low in case of static capacitor. In case of synchronous condenser, losses are present because there is a rotating synchronous condenser is a rotating device, so losses will be present over there. So since there are no moving parts in case of static capacitors, their maintenance is low. In case of synchronous condenser, moving parts are present. Okay, so they have a maintenance cost with them. Then static capacitor can work with the normal conditions. Okay, even they also can work with normal conditions. They are lightweight and do not require foundation for installation. Static capacitors are very lightweight. They do not require any foundation for installation. But in case of synchronous condenser, they are heavy because they are a synchronous motor, so they require foundation. Okay, you might be seeing in our labs. Okay, our motors are placed at a height with foundation. Okay, cement foundation and all is there. So there you can see our motors are placed over there. Okay, so that foundation is required for placement of the machine, but whereas in case of static capacitors, such sort of foundation is not required. Okay. So there is one problem with static capacitor is that uh, the loads, as the loads keep on changing. Okay. So as yesterday also we discussed that the loads are seasonal wise dependent, timely dependent. Okay. Sometimes the load will be high, in some hours that load will be low. In case of seasonal wise also load changes frequently. Okay. So with that of load, sudden changes in load. Okay. So making on and off of the capacitor banks. Okay, so suddenly you have to switch on the capacitor banks and suddenly you have to switch off the capacitor banks. So because of that, small switching spikes will happen in the system. Okay, so that is one thing you have to take care. And if such things frequently happens, then your capacitors will become damaged, and the repairing will be costly. Okay. So as I already told you, the life of synchronous condenser is almost 25 years. So they are highly reliable, no generation of harmonics. So the faults can be removed easily, and it is expensive, high maintenance cost. So only large power users can afford synchronous condensers. So synchronous motor has no self-starting torque. That is one more drawback we have to take. Then it produces much noise around the environment where people are working. So you have to take care of these things while you are going to use synchronous condenser. Okay, only high power users or large power users are going to afford a synchronous condensers. Medium industries and all will be using static capacitors only. So next comes phase advancer. Okay, so the third method of improvement of the power factor is phase advancer. So phase advancers are nothing but now in case of induction motors, we have seen if you look at the working principle of induction motor. So induction motor, will have a lagging current of 90 degrees. If induction motor runs, okay, so one component is very essential. Okay, to make the induction motor run, one component, one factor, okay, or one parameter is very essential. Okay, without that, your induction motor is no more present. Okay, so you keep on guessing what is that one important parameter that is required for induction motor. So you know, for every motor we require stator and rotor. There must be a rotating magnetic field. So as Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction says that whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in the magnetic field, it experiences a force of rotation. Okay, so that means either there must be a rotating magnetic field or there must be a rotor to rotate. So then only this rotation is going to happen. Okay, so now for induction motor, apart from these, for any motor these are required. Okay, so for any motor, this rotor or the rotating magnetic field, so these are all things required. Okay, but one additional thing that is required for induction motor, okay, is slip. Okay, if there is no slip, there is no induction motor. Okay, if slip is not there, then there is no induction motor. What is slip? Slip is nothing but the difference between the speed with which your rotating magnetic field rotates and the speed with which your rotor rotates. We call that slip speed. Okay, so when there is no slip speed, so that means if Nr is the speed of the rotor, as we know, we will be studying, you might have studied these things. Ns is going to be synchronous speed and Nr is the rotor speed. So Ns is the synchronous speed, Nr is the rotor speed. So we know this. So if there is a change, if there is a difference between Ns and Nr, okay, then only slip speed comes into picture. Okay, so if slip is not there, then Ns is equal to Nr. Okay, so does the rotor rotate? Then Ns is equal to Nr. Okay, so when Ns is equal to Nr, does the rotor rotate? Okay, no. Okay, so Nr is always less than Ns for induction motor. Okay, if and all you want to make the machine to run as a generator, then Nr must be greater than Ns. So that means there must be a parameter relative which is either greater than or less than to call that, to make the machine to run either a generator or a motor. Okay, so if and all that slip parameter is not there, okay, so then there is no induction motor at all, right? So slip is very important. As you know that for induction motors, slip is very essential. Why? Because you can see the torque of induction motor at starting, torque of induction motor running, resistance of induction rotor starting and running. So EMF generated at starting, at running, current at starting, at running, power factor starting, at running, frequency at starting, at running. So all these components are varied with respect to slip. So you know FR, frequency FR is equal to S into F. Okay, so that is the relationship between running frequency and supply frequency, you know. So slip is the key parameter. Okay, so reactance X2R S into X2, EMF E2R S into E2. So for every parameter in the running condition, there is a component multiplied with slip. Okay, so that is why slip is such an essential component for induction motor. So now what we are trying to do is we are going to utilize that same thing. We are going to utilize that key parameter of the slip in this concept, and we are trying to improve the power factor. Okay, so here phase advance is nothing but an AC exciter. Okay, so it is nothing but a simply AC exciter which is connected to the main shaft of the motor. Okay, which operates with motor's rotor circuit. Okay, it is going to operate with the rotor circuit of the motor. Okay, as the starter windings of induction motor takes a lagging current which is nothing but 90 degrees out of phase with voltage, so the power factor of the induction motor is low. So this we know. So if the exciting ampere turns are going to be excited by external AC source, then there will be no effect on exciting current. So if and all starting current, if we want to excite this rotor during running condition instead of starting condition, if you are going to do that in running condition, then there will be no effect of the stator windings. Okay, so the current on the stator windings are not going to affected if and all initial, if you are not going to vary the initial exciting current. Okay, so we are trying to include those in terms of running condition. So that is why what is happening here. So now this is the basic your induction motor. So here I have taken one image. So here you see the total current, total line current is going to be 100 amps. Now both active component of current and reactive component of current, both currents are passing to the induction motor load. So at the starting both are coming, we assume like this. Active component of current is 80 amps, reactive component is 60 amps. Okay, so both are coming like this. So instead of that, what we are trying to do is I am trying to put an AC exciter at to the rotor circuit alone, so at the value of slip. Okay, so which is why what happens initially only here 80 amps will be coming only at the point of when the rotor is running with certain slip value. At particular point of time I am going to activate this exciter. Okay, so at slip frequency only I am going to uh, give this reactive component of current. So which means initially, so here initially there is only active component of current. So and here I am reduced to the reactive component of current. So since, so by which the power factor can be improved. Okay. The advantages of phase advancers. So lagging KVR, so reactive power component drawn by the motor can be reduced sufficiently by supplying ampere turns at slip frequency. Okay, so as we are able to give currents only when are necessary, reactive components when reactive components necessary, only for that particular point of time we are giving the ampere turns, so by which uh, the power factor is going to be improved. So which means the other way we can say that is reactive component of power is reduced. Okay. So these phase advancers are going to be used where in some applications synchronous motors, presence of synchronous motor is not going to be accepted. So when there is no possibility of adding synchronous motors, okay, because when synchronous motors are costly, because of the industry demands, for some industries presence of synchronous motor is not required. So in all that particular conditions, we are going to add we can add a phase advancers or static capacitors. So depending on the situation we can add. And the major disadvantage with phasor advancer is you cannot use phase advancers for motors less than 200 horsepower. Okay, so if you are going to use phase advancers less than 150 kilowatt, okay, so then the cost of phase advancer, the whatever the cost you are going to put for improving the power factor, okay, so it is not going to be fulfilled. So whatever we are trying to improve, so that should be within the cost limits. So that is very very important, because we cannot spend more than what we are going to earn from it. Okay, so spending always comes from the how much you are earning. So if your earning is less, you have to spend less. If that is the strong relationship between spending and earning. If you are going to spend more than of your earning, you will be in severe debts. Okay, so much debts will happen to you, and ultimately you are going to put so much mental stress because of the severe debts, and the industry will be shut down. Your name, fame, all things will be gone down. Your employees will always be uh, this you will the fellow employees, okay, will treat that chairman or industry as a uh, not a fit person. Okay, so those things and all will happen if your expenses are dominating than your income. Okay, so that is, you should take care. So that is why here that parameter comes into picture. Use of phase advancer is uneconomical if you are going to apply for the motors less than 150 kilowatt. Okay, so you should always see that condition to happen. Okay, so on the whole, so we have discussed what is how power factor improvement is going to be done, what are the methods by which by using static capacitors how power factor can be improved, by using phase advancers how we are going to improve the power factor, and also by using synchronous condenser how we are going to improve the power factor. Okay, so these are the key topics for discussion today.